this video. Sorry, serious. Happy New Year.
Everyone good?
Yeah, good.
You're good to go. Thanks for coming, everyone. Afternoon. Today we're giving an update in terms of the operation here at the Mount. I can announce as of now we are moving into a recovery phase from a rescue operation. I just want to acknowledge all the USAR teams, the police dog handlers, the police officers, the firemen and contractors and many others who have been working tirelessly at this scene. Quite a large size scene for the last 2 days. All of those people working on site have been working for the rescue of 6 people who have been unaccounted for since Thursday morning in the slip, and their work has been nothing short of outstanding, and so I just want to mention that first up. We're now moving into a recovery phase, and this is heartbreaking news for us and also obviously the families involved. We have been working closely with them since Thursday morning. We're still talking about 6 unaccounted people, and those names will be released to media after this conference. I just also like to acknowledge the support of the fire service and many other agencies that have been working tirelessly over the last 2 or 3 days since Thursday morning, since this happened. There's been a lot of bravery shown in terms of the work going on. It's been difficult conditions. Everyone's been hoping for the best, but we're now in a situation where overnight we have now found human remains, and so we're working through that phase now. I'll just hand over now to the Chief Coroner, who can talk to that phase of things.
Tēnā koutou katoa. I want to start by offering my sincere condolences to the families and friends of those who have lost their lives in the weather-related events. This is an unimaginably terrible time for those people who've lost the people they love. Here at the campground, human remains have been reported, as the District Commander has just said, and these are now in the custody of the Coroner. Recovery efforts continue. I want to assure the families and friends of those who are unaccounted for that once recovery of victims is possible, they'll be treated with dignity and respect. And where known, specific cultural needs will be met to the greatest extent possible. The victims who have died will be transported to the mortuary at Hamilton and kept there until they are able to be reunited with families. And I'll be speaking more with families today about the processes that are likely to be followed. Coroners have a specific role under the law. That includes making decisions about post-mortem examinations and, with the assistance of police and other specialists, determining the identification of those who are unaccounted for and those who have died. In a case like this, as you can appreciate, identification can be a painstaking, complex, lengthy process, especially when people are seriously injured. That process takes time. We know families will be desperate to have the people they love reunited with them. We understand that, and that drives our actions. We'll be speaking to families again more about that later today. But we have to get it right. We work very closely with police and other specialists. We follow international best practice. The last thing we want is to have any family traumatised by having a person other than their family member returned to them. And we know that that's happened multiple times when tragic events have happened overseas. We'll do everything we can to make sure that that doesn't happen here, and that means that we'll work as quickly as possible, but we will be taking every care to ensure that identifications are accurate. We can't say how long that process will take, but I give my absolute assurance to all of those affected that we will work as carefully and as quickly as we can to reunite families. The police family liaison officers will keep families informed at every step of the process. Again, I want to reassure family and friends that the people they love who have died in this tragedy will be treated with dignity and respect as we work through the processes that we need to follow. My condolences to everyone affected.
Tim, did you expect to move into a recovery phase so soon?
Look, it's fair to say that the staff working at the site since Tuesday morning have been living in hope that someone was still alive, and look, we're still working through it, and until we've actually completed the search, it's, you know, the likelihood of someone being alive is highly unlikely according to the experts, but you could never rule that out, and so we have never ruled that out for the first couple of days. So we've relied on expert advice and also from what we've seen and uncovered at the scene, which has been a huge piece of work.
And before you found these human remains, did you have any prior indication that that was the case, or was it quite sudden?
Sorry, what was the last bit?
Was it quite sudden finding these human remains, or did you have any indication that you were on the right path?
There was no indication of signs of life, and so then we just found those human remains last night.
How long do you expect this search phase to go on for?
Sorry?
What area of the search have you found these human remains?
It's fair to say, look, I'm not going to speculate, go into the details, but it's in an area where we're expected to find those that are unaccounted for.
Ablution block.
I'm not going to go into that.
How long do you expect this next phase of the operation to go for?
Look, as the coroner said, we have particular processes around that. It's really important that we do the identification right, and we follow strict disaster identification processes. So we could expect this to take some days.
In terms of recovering all of those unaccounted for?
Yeah, that could take some days from here. My main concern, and those behind me right now, is actually, whilst we've got processes to follow and we're managing all the different phases, is actually the safety of the staff working on it. If you look at the mount now, I don't think anyone would have envisaged a slip that size in terms of the depth and the width of it. And you can see around it there's still a lot of mud and other aspects. So my primary consideration today is actually the health and well-being and safety of our staff.
And at what point did you find those remains, and at what point did you speak to family? Have you spoken to family?
Yes, look, we've been speaking to the family throughout, obviously, and we've updated them in terms of everything that I've just disclosed now to them this morning. So they've been kept appraised in terms of what's going on.
When did they get let know? Around about what time from when you found those remains? I know it would be.
It's happened this morning. Yeah.
Can you confirm how many people remain unaccounted for and how many are accounted for by finding these remains?
Yeah, look, we're still going through a process in terms of what we're finding. We can say there are 6 unaccounted for that we know of. We've gone through our list and ruled out other people we were looking for. That's not to say that there isn't more, but what we can say that's highly unlikely because everyone who has been reported missing is accounted for.
So those 3 you were searching for information on yesterday, they've now been accounted for?
Yes, they have.
Of those 6 people, how many are from overseas?
I'm not going to go into that. We're going to release some names after that, and perhaps within that I just want to confirm that that's 100%.
Did those families?
The search and the recovery being called off because of the danger of slips in that search area?
Absolutely. Yeah.
How likely is that?
Is there a possibility that we might never get these bodies back?
Well, I would imagine we'll work through our process and hopefully we will, but I'm not going to put people in further danger. None of us will. But we're continuing to manage that, and we've got some fairly strict parameters around those that are working on site right now.
Are you worried about the weather that's about to roll through, given the fact that you're now in recovery?
We're always worried about the weather. It rained last night, it's just rained before. That's something that we'll keep an eye on, yes.
I understand that there is a crack in the ground up towards the higher part of the mount that could be posing quite a significant risk of further slipping over the search area, is that correct?
We rely on our geotechnical experts and our other use health and safety experts around that sort of thing. I'm not aware of this myself personally, a specific crack, but we have people working on that now.
And you've been advised that there is quite a high likelihood of further slips?
Well, I haven't been advised that, but as a layperson, and if you look at it, that would have to be a concern, right?
So you felt a bit nervous being around there, that's fair to say?
Look, I think it's fair to say, and it doesn't matter what we're dealing with, whether it be this operation or any data policing operation, the health and safety and well-being of our staff on the ground is paramount.
And in terms of identification for those victims that were found, what was that process like in ensuring that those families were let know that it was their loved ones that were affected? Was that an issue?
That process is still ongoing, so it's not concluded. We're just starting that process
so
now.
There's not
I don't know if the coroner wants to
So there's
speak to
not
that.
full clarity for those family members that it is in fact their loved ones that were found?
No, that's the process we're working through now.
So what support's being offered to families of members of victims?
We are wrapping around full support. Obviously, each family has a family liaison officer, and we're offering all the support and other experts and support people that are required. Everyone has different needs.
And what do you make of people who have been kind of breaking through the cordon to come and look at the scene?
Yeah, the Mayor just alerted me to that, and we would take a fairly zero tolerance approach to that, and I'd expect if anyone actually breaks through a cordon or even considers going up the mount, they'd be arrested and be put before the courts.
Is it going to make you tighten kind of rules around people, because you're letting at the moment residents come through the cordon? Are you going to tighten up kind of security around that?
There's residents that live within the outer cordon, you could say, and in fairness to say, most people have been quite dignified and respectful in terms of what's happening here on the ground. You always get the odd person who shouldn't be doing that, so they will be dealt with accordingly.
There was quite a lot of people though this morning walking on the beach past that cordon. It looks to be maybe a little bit broken. Are you going off of that question, are you going to strengthen those cordons? Are you going to put up more cordons?
That's something we'll continue to work with, yes.
Is there a plan in place for moving the area around the cordon in terms of the safety risk for the people that are working there and the families, which I understand have a kind of access point quite close to the inner cordon? Is there a plan in place should you need to pull back urgently in the case of another slip?
Yeah, there's always plans in place. I mean, we're standing right here with businesses that are closed. We're continuing to reassess that every day in terms of the risk versus people need to access. Yeah.
For you, Mia, I saw that you put on social media a video talking about those people breaking those cordons. Do you have anything you'd like to add on that? Or reiterate?
I think just reiterate what the District Commander has said. Most of our people have been fantastic and the community has been very supportive, but we will not accept the behaviour of people trying to break the cordon. We've got CCTV footage up. We have got one of the people that broke the cordon this morning, and as the District Commander has said, we will take every opportunity to punish those people because it's just unacceptable.
So that
behaviour.
person is in custody?
My understanding is they are. Look, this is just something that you're putting the rescue workers at risk. We've got families that are wanting their loved ones home. Please let the people do their job, and you going to have a look at the scene is not that important. So absolutely, we're onto it, and we will beef up security if need be to stop these people. But this is not something that we should be doing at this time when we want to be focusing on the recovery efforts.
In terms of the tikanga around this space here, are you clear on the rahui and what access that means for people who live in this area and would normally swim at the beach or Pilot Bay?
Look, at the moment we're certainly working closely with iwi and the Moa Trust, obviously, who we jointly administer the mount with. A number of those discussions are still to take place, and certainly again we'll communicate what is at play because it's important that we respect those cultural and I can tell you they've been involved around moving soil and things like that. This is a very sacred manga to our local iwi. So those sort of tikanga principles are certainly being taken in place.
And given that importance, is there any indication from the council that you would consider closing permanent access to the mount?
Look, we need to have those discussions, and as I say, we jointly administer the manga with the Moao Trust. So those discussions we have not had at this stage, and I'm not going to decide where those discussions will go, but they will be had at a later date. But still, at the moment, our thoughts and our priority is returning the remains of the people that remain here.
And what's I'm just curious, how much, if you've been able to quantify how much dirt and debris you're working with in there to recover the bodies? Does anyone know that?
Not sure who not a civil engineer, sorry. I've heard various reports, but I don't have a definitive number, sorry.
Tim, for you as well, what's both of yours, if you may, message to the families of 6 at this time?
Yeah, look, obviously through the family liaison officers, our hearts go out to them. Whilst we couldn't begin to imagine what's going through their minds right now, we're working really, really closely with them to try and attend to every need they have. Obviously, just a really sad and tragic occasion.
David, a question for you, if I may. FENZ has obviously been the lead on this operation. Can you describe the work that your staff have been putting into this operation, especially as it's moved into it?
Okay, so we've had 25 urban search and rescue personnel on site since the beginning. The workers involved working in cooperation with the contractors and diggers, as well as police, to delayer, what we call delayering the site in a very, very delicate way. So even though they're very large diggers, they're actually delayering very sensitively, just thin slivers at a time, to ensure that anything in the way of human remains is identified. This has been a harrowing job. My respect goes out and thoughts go out to the families, but equally, for emergency workers, and particularly those working on site, it's as tough for them as well. There's psychological impacts and all the rest of it. And so I just want to acknowledge our people, but back to the work. So they've been delayering, and we've had that primary focus of getting to parts of the slip where we believe from early intelligence people might be. And as the district commander mentioned earlier, this morning was sort of a breakthrough, in terms of where we've got to in that space. So, and that's kind of driven the decision that we're here to today. And I might say that from a fire and emergency perspective, we're in complete agreement and support of the decision. However, having said that, if the way we operate isn't going to change, we're going to continue to work with police on that delayering until basically we're satisfied that we've gone as far as we can.
And David, just to clarify, will that mean there's more people coming to help out here now, or less, or is it remaining the same?
Our processes are to rotate people on an ongoing basis, and so we will continue those rotations until such time as police make the call that our services are no longer required. But in the meantime, we stay committed to carry on as we have done since the commencement.
The police become the lead agency now that it's a recovery?
Yes, as the district commander said, the DVI processes are quite specific, and it's really important that police manage those processes. So it's a change in command, but it's only a very slight change in the way we will be operating.
Tim, just one more, sorry. Will families at any time be able to now come back possibly onto the site now that there is this clarification for them about their loved ones?
Yeah, they're actually got access to accommodation, which is basically on site, if you like, right on the border of it, in terms of one of the townhouses. So we'll certainly arrange that sort of access so long as it's safe for them.
Does that make you nervous, the fact that we're a bit conscious of the weather and the slips, and those families are staying close by, quite close to the site?
That's something we assess every day, every hour, in terms of what I said earlier on. I guess I might take one or two more questions, but I just really want to acknowledge the staff that have been working on the ground across all the agencies some sterling work. I've got Senior Constable Barry Shepherd here. He turns over 50 years in policing this Wednesday. He is New Zealand's expert around DVI and SAR, so he's leading a team here that are doing some simply outstanding work. I couldn't be more proud of Barry and the team that are here.
Barry, can you ask, how does this operation compare? You've been in this for 15 years now. How does this compare to other operations you've worked on?
What brings me to work here is the grieving, lovely families who have lost people in here. And that's what motivates me every day. I don't really compare it to other jobs because all families have had tragic losses, right? Across all these disasters that we've had. And as I say, we just get stuck in every day to bring closure for them.
Maybe wrap it up here, right?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.